excited to show you the project today. I'm using lots of new products that are out of our holiday catalog. This is what the holiday 2012 catalog looks like. If you've not received one of these, please contact me and I would be happy to send one out to you. On the cover you see this fabulous ornament here, and I have made that, and it just might be the next video that I do, but I wanted to start off with something just a little bit simpler. So when you turn the page, the first page in the holiday catalog shows the different products that coordinate with the ornaments. So we have the Ornament Keepsake stamp set. There's 9 different ornament stamps down here. And then also the Framlet dies. It may be easier just to show you those actual Framlets. They come in this nice little pouch, and then all of the different dies are here, and they coordinate. That's the red line that you see around the ornament. So I'm just going to peel off the one that I'm going to use for this project. And this is something you'll see me use with our Big Shot die cutting system. So what you need to be aware of in this holiday catalog is right here where it says Ornament Keepsakes Bundle. You can purchase just the Framlets or you can purchase just the stamp set. However, when you purchase those two together, you're going to save 15%. So if you would like both the Framlets to cut out the ornaments as well as that stamp set, be sure to order the bundle and you'll save 15%. So the inspiration for the project that I'm going to show you came from this picture right here, this ornament. I'm going to show you the finished project first. It's this right here. Hopefully you can see the shimmer and bling on there. So again, my inspiration came from here. I used the same ornament to get the pieces here, and I just changed the center a little bit. So, like I said, there's just lots of different products on this project, so I'm going to walk you through how to do this. So the very first thing I'm going to do is take some Old Olive Classic ink, and just as a reminder, we did change our ink pad style. You may be able to see the difference here if you've been familiar with Stampin' Up. This is a foam-like pad, so it's going to stamp much differently than what you're used to. This solid image, I'm just going to tap it a couple times gently, and then I'm going to stamp straight down and up, and you'll see what an awesome solid image I get. I'm going to go ahead while I have this scrap paper in front of me, and I'm going to use this other stamp that comes in the set with cherry cobbler ink. So again, just tap it gently and stamp straight down and up. And that little piece coordinates with our 1-inch circle punch. So I hold the punch upside down over the stamped image so I can line it up just how I want it and then pop that out. Okay, so for this, I'll just set that aside for now. For this ornament, I want to show you how to cut it out using the Framelit. So I'm going to pull in my Big Shot and scoot a few things back to make room for it. So with my Big Shot, I am going to leave it on the platform on tab 2, set one of my cutting pads down, then my cardstock. You'll notice on the Framelits, I think you can see it here, there's a raised edge and then there's this side that's just smooth. So I want that raised edge to be down. That's what's going to actually do the cutting. So I just center it on my ornament, and then I need to be careful when I put this on. It's real easy to kind of slide it on there to get it going, but you just want to make sure it sets on there. You just have to be a little more intentional about it, but that way your ornament doesn't move. So I'm going to crank it through. And then this is what I have, and this just comes out, and then that pops right out. So I'm going to set that aside. While I have the Big Shot right here in front of me, I'm going to go ahead and use the new snowflake die and cut my snowflakes that I need. This die is called Big Snow Flurry. And then this is some of our glimmer paper. I hope that's catching the sparkle and glimmer on there. I'm going to put it over the biggest snowflake on here. For this, because it's a bigger die, I don't need to use the platform at all. It just goes right between the cutting pads. And crank it through. And this is kind of funny when you use the glimmer paper. Let me just set this whole thing aside. When you use the glimmer paper, it doesn't really look like I did anything on here. but you can kind of see it when you turn it over. The back is just white here, so that helps me guide how to pop it out. And then I have my awesome glimmery snowflake. So I did one of these ahead of time, so I'm going to use 2 on the project. I'm just kind of gathering all my pieces right now with all these other tools I need to bring in. The next thing is I'm going to use our Simply Scored. And these, to do this ornament, each of these points requires 4 of these ornaments. So I went ahead. You'll need 24 total. So this one that I just did is the 24th one. Okay, so there's a lot of stamping and cutting out with the framelits. So you do 24 of those, and then what you're going to want to do with 3 of them from each point. So in other words, 18 of them, you're going to set up here, and I'm just lining this up at one of the points. And I'm going to take my, let me scoot this down just a little bit. I'm going to take my stylus tool, line it up here, and I'm just going to make a scored line right through the center of that ornament. And that'll just guide me as I fold it in half. Okay. I think I've used all my big extra tools, so I'm going to go ahead and sit back down and start putting this together. So I have got one ornament that's just plain, I'm not going to score, and then I've got these other 3 that are all scored. So hopefully you can see that they each have the scored line to guide me as I fold it. So I want to fold it in half. Probably should use a bone folder, but forgot to grab one. It would give me a good crisp fold on that crease. Okay, so the 3 are folded. I'm going to take my adhesive and put a little bit on here, and then I'm going to hold it this way so I can see it better. Line up the ornament. Then I'm going to fold this one over and do the same thing. Put some adhesive on here and attach the next one. So I want to do that with the 3 that were scored. Now on the back, I'm going to put some adhesive, and now I'm going to lay my one that's flat, and that's just going to provide the back, kind of the base for that petal of the ornament. Okay, so now these pop up like this, and I'm going to kind of pull them all in. Oh, this is a new thing we have. It's called a silicone craft sheet, and you'll see how cool it is in just a second. So what I'm going to do is kind of build my ornament. And I'm just going to set these on here, build it. I want them all to be touching without sticking my head in the way of the camera right over top of it. I think they're all touching there. So what's fun with this is what I'm going to do is make this big blob of hot glue. So I'm just going to squeeze and squeeze and squeeze, and I want to make sure my hot glue is touching every part of this ornament. Okay, set that aside. So I'm just going to set this aside for a moment to kind of let the glue dry a little bit and then peel it right off of there. In the meantime, I'm going to pull over these pieces that I prepared before. So this is a 1/16 hole punch, and I just pop it right through the center. This brad is a Glimmer brad from the Bold Brights. It's the same olive color as this ink that I used, so that will tie that in the center. And then what I want to do is take some dimensionals. So I'm going to put a dimensional on here, peel off the backing, and when I stick this next snowflake on, I'm just going to stagger it a little bit, like that. Add another dimensional there, and then this final piece right on top. Okay, so that will be the focal point of our ornament that we'll add in just a moment. Okay, the hot glue takes just, a little while to dry, and I probably should let it dry just a little bit more than this, but I just want to wrap this up and show you how to finish it. So what's great about this silicone craft sheet is that I can just peel it off and the glue just pops right off of it. So it just gives me a great surface to work on. So this part is a little, I don't know, I'd never done this before with all the dimensionals, but what I do is I stacked a bunch of dimensionals on top of each other to give this the height that I needed. So I've got, I'll probably do about 8 of them. So I'm just stacking them right on top of each other, peeling off the backing and adding another one. Seems kind of strange, but it really gives you the pop that you need, and it holds very securely. So we'll do it. I kind of lost count. I'll do one more. And of course the number isn't as significant as just making sure that this sticks up far enough on here. So I'm just going to press that then into the center of that blob of glue, like that. So again, when I lift this up, I can take this, I cut about 8 inches of our linen thread, and I would just loop this in the back and use more hot glue behind here to hold it in place. I'll grab the one that I did earlier as a sample so you can see how that hot glue just dries that right there. This would be a beautiful ornament on your tree or even on top of a special gift for someone. It's a great way to use our new products in our Ornament Keepsakes bundle. Thanks for watching my video. For daily creative inspiration, visit my blog or find me on Facebook at Jody Reinert Stamps.